Hello and welcome to Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring on Tuesday night. Everyone's feeling a little bit frisky, aren't they, Joel? Sheamus is feeling a little frisky. Kenny Omega's feeling a little bit frisky. Don Callis, friskier than a kid on Sunday.
I mean, I'm feeling frisky. How are you? Are you feeling frisky, Tim?
No.
Really? Everyone else is feeling frisky. You're just not one for peer pressure.
I'm feeling fresca. I could go for a fresca right now. I don't have one, nor have they provided us with a sponsorship, which we are sorely due.
Oh, yes, completely.
I don't
you know what'll help us get a little bit closer to a sponsorship? If you feel the need, if you want that fresca, if you want that freshness from us, hit that subscribe button, like the video that you're watching right now for us, would you? Gets us into the stratosphere, gets us into everyone's ears, and we want you in our ears as well. So if you're in the chat, say hi, get your statement, get your say, let us talk to you, let's do it up. We have a huge week that just happened. We have a few days of hugeness that just happened, Tim. Rebellion.
Yeah.
Impact Rebellion.
For once, Impact making the big waves. They're the big news this week.
And I feel awful because we used to cover Impact all the time on this show. And then for the last 2 weeks, we haven't been able to because, quite frankly, we've been inundated with WrestleMania. And then we changed time slots and everything moved around. And all of a sudden, it was like Impact has no business on our show. But now they do because we have a new Impact and TNA World Champion. And his name is Kenny by God Omega.
Yeah, and he gets 2 extra belts for some reason.
Well,
see, if they were gonna merge that into one single belt, last night was probably the time to do it. But I guess we just want to put as many belts on Kenny as possible, right? Wrap them all up like a belt mummy.
Well, yeah, he's the belt collector, so you want to have him have.
I prefer belt mummy.
Belt mummy. It's like belt mommy.
The belt mommy.
Belt mummy.
Yeah, I mean he dresses like a soccer mom sometimes, so you know.
Case in point, what you want is you want him to look like Ultimo Dragon when he won the Super J Crown and had those 9 title belts all over him. That's what you want out of Kenny Omega.
Is that might be what you want? It's not necessarily what I want.
I can deal with Kenny Omega. You know what?
I love Kenny Omega. Just maybe that's a lot of belts.
It's a lot of. It'll weigh him down, and that might be what either gives him the drive to succeed. That's cardio, carrying all that heavy mass. Or it will be his downfall because he can't carry all that heavy mass.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're going with this angle that he's starting to crack, at least on Dynamite. So,
you know what? Outside of the ring, Kenny doesn't always do it for me. I got a little sick of everyone talking about the drip and everyone talking about the promos and the way that he would talk to the audience. And he hates wrestling, but he's a great wrestler. But then he gets in the ring, and unfortunately, if you don't like his promos, you're gonna love his in-ring work.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say main event of Rebellion wasn't my favorite match on Rebellion.
Really? Why did you not enjoy that
there were a couple top rope spots that got like a little bit slippy that like looked kind of crummy to me. It just like I was not prepared for the Knockouts tag match to be as good as it was. I really enjoyed that. Like seeing Jordan Grace like just absolutely like chuck I can't remember who it was, but one of the Fire and Flava, Tasha Steelz just like smack, and like every single slam that Jordan gave was like very impactful. Like, and they just had a lot of chemistry. I felt like it was a good match with a surprise ending. Did not expect that.
It was. I mean, listen, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering winning the Knockouts tag titles was a lot of fun. I didn't expect it. I also have been seeing a lot of Jordan Grace losing on Impact and on all of these shows.
Had the wrong partner. Jazz was making a mess of things.
But now Jazz is the manager.
Exactly. She's good up here, but not so good in the anymore.
So you're saying there's a chance that Jazz is still going to wrestle?
No. Drop that. It's not going to happen. Please give up on that. Cause it's fine.
But they got to drop those titles somehow. I mean, Jordan Grace eventually is going to lose.
Absolutely pun intended on that. Yeah, she's going to lose because eventually she's going to go back for the main title because it seems like she's sticking around. She's got the tag belts now.
What about Fire and Flavor? Do you want them to break up or no?
No, absolutely not. Great team, great chemistry, great entrance. Like their music is like You feel
It's
it.
fire.
Yeah, it's fire.
Fire.
So, like, no, they don't need to break up. Just keep them in the mix. Like, again, they need more people, which they brought in another one this week. So we got more women on the roster. We can have a healthy tag division.
I mean, Kiera Hogan and Deonna Purrazzo looks good. You want to talk about women coming back? Taylor Wilde made her re-debut with Impact after Deonna Purrazzo retained her Knockouts championship, taking on Danielle Dashwood. I mean, it was a good match.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. Like, it was a standout, like, surprise for me. I thought it was one of the better ones on the show.
I'm seeing in the chat, they're saying, they're expecting Impact to be more geared towards women in the X division for the next few weeks. I agree. Yeah. I think there'll be something at the top just discussing how, how Swan couldn't get the big job done, and now everyone's going to have to go after Kenny, blah, blah, blah. But then the women who have always been a standard for Impact, and the X division, which has been the standout for Impact, they're going to be knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Tag division strong. Like, Deonna Purrazzo put on a good show. Like, it's good, and I think there's a lot of rich storylines to come out of that main event for Rich Swann, right? Because, yeah, like you had mentioned, people are going to be a little bit, like, PO'd at him for he dropped the ball. Couldn't keep it. He even looked like having him be as gassed as he was at the end is a good narrative thread if he's, okay and good to wrestle.
That seems to be Rich Swann's kind of MOs, right? He looks tired mid-match, but he's selling really hard. But the unfortunate thing is, as good as he and Kenny were, on the stretch going home, it looked like Kenny was trying to carry Swann to the end. Well, now, either that plays out, or Swann was legitimately like out on his ass.
I think he got gassed. He looked like real haggard. So, like, maybe he's just that good at selling, and he's got me, marked out over it. But, like, one way or the other, they've got some use out of it. It's just, yeah, I felt a couple spots kind of looked pretty wonky for me.
Now, before we touch on the tag titles and before we touch on the X division and the new champion Josh Alexander, I want to ask you a question, because it's on the thumbnail. It's what people are here to see. Like, otherwise we give them clickbait, and there are enough of those out there. We're not the clickbait people, except for that 1 week. Anyway, the Impact AEW partnership. We ask, who does it benefit? Now, here's the reality of it. Impact is a great middleman between New Japan and AEW because of the Good Brothers, because of the relationship with Kenny, because of the relationship with Don, because of the relationship even with Scott D'Amore. My question to you becomes, what does Impact stand to gain from this partnership with AEW, knowing so far what we know and what we've seen?
I don't know. At this point, they literally advertised the pay-per-view like once, right? Like last week, I think was the first ad I saw for Rebellion.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
Like, AEW has so many people on their roster. Maybe they could help supplement that women's division a little bit more. That's, what AEW kind of got with NWE. Maybe they bring in some, I mean, I don't know. I don't see any value for it for Impact other than like more wrestling fans knowing that Impact exists.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. But like, they also just had Kenny steamroll not steamrolling. It was a good match, but like,
I get you. I understand.
Is the belt going to be off TV for a while? Like, are we going to get Kenny actually there? Because at this point, I feel like that narratively, both shows are kind of suffering because we didn't see Rich Swann show up on Dynamite, and for whatever reason, they had what could have been a pretty good spot with Moxley and Kingston this week that we can go over later, but like, it didn't quite play out the way you would have expected, and I think it's because they're trying to keep things safe for that feud that they were running this weekend. So I don't know.
It also felt like they were trying to keep things safe in terms of how they tell the Omega on AEW story and the Omega and Impact story. Yeah, and that's fine. I get that. I think that Impact actually stands to gain a lot from this. While they have only really had Private Party and Omega, and then the Good Brothers have also benefited by being able to go back and forth between AEW and Impact. Impact has seen a lot more conversation around them. Yeah. Maybe their ratings, traditional ratings, don't really show it, but I can tell you firsthand, over on Fightful Gaming on Twitch, we run our weekly Impact show, and we see that community growing. We see more and more people coming in and watching. Okay. And most of the people are actually saying, Kenny's okay, but they're sticking around because they love the Knockouts division. They love Swingers Palace. They love Steiner Math at 9:30 or whenever it airs. They love the silly stuff that Impact does, and they love a lot of the work rate stuff. Yeah. I asked someone the other day, what was your favorite match on the card? Someone said that the Last Man Standing match was their favorite.
Oh, Trey Miguel, that's what I was trying to think. I was looking through your notes, and you didn't mention it. That was a great match. I hate Sami Callihan. I hate Sami Callihan. Like, his bit makes me want to watch him get hurt, and he so very rarely properly gets hurt.
NXT Solomon Crow, that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, don't care for Sami Callihan, but put on a pretty good thing with Trey Miguel, even though Sami Callihan nearly murdered Trey Miguel a couple times. You want to talk about shaky spots? Oh my God, a couple of pile drivers there.
And that was the thing. We watched a 30-minute main event on one of the TV episodes of Impact with Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan, and we were miserable.
Different, awful match. It was
not good.
That's why that Last Man Standing match was a complete shock to me. Woof.
We went in with much lowered expectations, and we got what we deserved because Callihan is an excellent hardcore wrestler.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, minus some of the corny bits like that barbed wire N64 controller, but whatever.
Hilarious. So that's the whole thing with the Impact partnership with AEW. They have been able to get some new eyes based on Kenny. Kenny is almost like the pilot project. Does it mean that they're going to have breakthrough ratings and Access is going to be amazed and they're going to give them a much more prominent showing than they already do? Probably not. But what it will do is potentially allow for more cross-branded work in the future. Part of the problem and the disappointment stemmed from when this all started. There was a lot of fantasy booking and a lot of people trying to get all hyped up over who should face whom from AEW over to Impact. And because that never came to fruition, at least right away, a lot of people were left feeling completely disenfranchised from the idea of a partnership with these two.
Yeah, and I think at least I didn't really expect to happen was I thought this would be like a flash in the pan quick. Like, we'll do a couple things, get in, get out. And it looks like maybe they are going to do more of a slow burn, where we have people show up periodically so that the surprise is still kind of a big pop rather than like unexpected thing where like, oh yeah, the lines are blurred and everyone's on everyone's roster. So it'll be the rare treat rather than, constant.
And it's hard. It's murky waters to navigate because I remember when we were talking about Private Party being a part of Impact, we said they could win their tag titles. It'll be similar to Evolve with NXT, where Evolve was a feeder system. So maybe Private Party would be that feeder system through AEW. And then they've got Dark and Dark Elevation. But the point was Impact would be, but the problem became that it would be seen as a lower tier organization. And that's not what Impact wants. I assume that's not what Kenny will want now that he's the Impact World Champion. There's a lot more story, hopefully, to be told. If there's one thing that AEW has gotten pretty good at, it's doing those much longer, stretched out stories that make sense. However, I'm really hoping that they start focusing a little bit more on those short sell storylines.
Yeah, 100%, because they're going to have to build some things kind of quick and fast. And I think there's a lot of opportunity with Rich right now for that, too. So he's got a soft landing spot. I don't know if they're going to extend the Cardona-Brian Myers thing based on the finish. Like, that was a pretty decent match, too. But him, taking the cheap shot and him being a little bit injured for it gives me some pause, because I don't want to see that drag out. I wanted that to be over.
It feels like we'll see it one more time and they'll put a stipulation on it and maybe it'll be Loser Leaves Impact.
Oh. Then Matt Cardona can appear on AEW once or twice again.
Well, we'll see where his girlfriend lands. That's the other question, or his fiance, I should say. Speaking of, I got no segue for this. Josh Alexander wins the X Division Championship. Very unexpected. He pinned Ace Austin, not TJP. I did not know what to expect coming into it. I expected Ace Austin to retain. I didn't expect that outcome to come to fruition. So I assume we'll see Alexander and TJP in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it felt a little bit weird. It
did.
Like, oh, okay, there you go. Fully expected Ace Austin to have. Yeah, it was a good finish. It was just like, what? Okay, Ace Austin no longer champion. Sucks for him.
Yeah, but there is opportunity for him to move up or at least go into the tag division. That tag division in Impact is also kind of in flux because you don't have a lot of teams now. You just lost Reno Scum. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton can at least tag for a little bit to kind of make up for it. They're going to be taping for the next few days, apparently, Impact is. So that'll kind of take them through at least to Slammiversary in July. So speaking of the Impact tag titles, another shocker was FinJuice retaining from New Japan.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I was expecting FinJuice to drop titles, go back to Japan. That's it. And it was we'll see you next time. But no, that's not what we got.
No, I'm here for it. Decent. Good times.
Good times. If you want a good time, slap a like on this video, would you? Subscribe. Tap that bell. Get some notifications in your ears and in your inboxes. Let's do that. But you know what? FinJuice were supposed to defend those New Japan titles. Those Impact titles over in New Japan, but it never happened. They did it over Collective Weekend, over WrestleMania week. But other than that, they just kind of held on to the titles for a little bit. Vaccines are in place. Travel restrictions might get a little bit lessened and lifted. Think Anderson and Gallows go back to Japan, maybe try and win those titles.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be interesting. Like, FinJuice will have the opportunity to defend them, I'm sure, in New Japan. So, it's an interesting storyline. I just want to see a few more competitors in the mix again. Like, for a while, it felt like there were 4 teams involved, and now it's just Anderson and Gallows and, well, the Good Brothers and FinJuice back and forth. But
yeah, and again, the match itself was solidly worked. It was good.
Yeah.
I just wish the Good Brothers weren't just dick jokes on BT, because then I'd enjoy them a lot more. Is there anything else from the show that we missed from Impact Rebellion?
I think we
got it all.
It was a good show.
We got the important stuff. It was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got the important stuff. Let's move on. Oh, we got to talk about Raw from last night.
Oh, boy. You know what?
The rerun.
Again, well, yeah, but that's every week. I went in with I watched it after the fact because I refuse. Went in with very low expectations, so it wasn't nearly as miserable for me as it was for most of the people who had to watch that live.
Oh boy. Listen, Charlotte returns again, which I love that I can just put that in my notes and literally have it as the header for the last 3 weeks with no problem.
Yeah.
She gets suspended. We talked about at the top of last week's show. That was the big angle that I really enjoyed. The suspension, the $100,000 fine. That was cool. And then all of a sudden she's back in the fray 7 days later. And I love the apology angle because it was funny. It was well done. Eddie Orengo kind of apologizing and then having to apologize again because Charlotte tells him to and then says, "Good boy." I loved it.
Yeah, I got no complaints about that. That was a good little bit. I get weird. I don't know what they're doing with oh my god, of course I'm blanking on her name. Sonya Deville. I don't love it. I don't love what's going on with that. It feels weird. Like she's constantly like undermining Adam Pearce in like little, like to the point of insignificant ways.
Yeah, it's a little microaggressions, and what is the end game? That's the big question.
It feels like
you can't have a match.
It's the dullest long-term storytelling I've seen.
Oh boy.
Like I just don't. Okay, thank you for these points. Like every time they cut to her and Adam talking about something, usually on SmackDown, it's just the most canned garbage. Like they're both so stiff and awkward. Awkward. It's like to the level of, so I says to Mabel, like that's where we're at with it. Like it's like, please just stop doing this. We don't need to pretend like they actually do this job. Like just cut them in for the bits you need.
So one thing I did like about Sonya was her and Mandy Rose having a little moment backstage.
Yeah.
Kind of calling back to that. And I love little callbacks. Let me feel like I'm invested long-term in your show. Otherwise, I'm bored to hell.
That, by contrast, is good long-term storytelling. Like having them actually interact and, Charlotte needs an opponent. Let's find an excuse. Oh, here's a perfect excuse. That worked well for me. So keep doing that. Just have her, like, stop cutting to her mid-sentence. It's so awful.
On the phone, just being like, da 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 da. Oh, hold on a second.
Hold on, I have to. Yeah,
it's really very awkward. I'm not a big fan of that.
You're writing good stuff otherwise. Like that is the Mandy thing is a great example. So like, lead with that stuff.
So with Mandy and Dana, I want to jump to this for a second because we've had a lot of problems talking about the women's division and the women's tag division in WWE. Mandy and Dana are currently the heels, and you cannot tell me otherwise. They are the mean girls.
Nia threw flowers at them.
They made fun of Nia.
Nia's kind of a jerk. Let them make fun of her. Maybe it'll correct her behavior.
But you see the optics here.
Yeah, it's not great.
The two pretty blonde girls are going after the larger woman.
Yeah,
and I understand. Like, oh, Nia's making fun of Dana. No, it doesn't matter. They're making fun of Mandy. Whatever. They're making fun of. Everyone's making fun of each other. Women hate each other. That's just what it is. All women hate each other. Anyway, point is, I don't understand why the pretty blondes attack the larger woman and they're the faces. That part just kind of doesn't make sense to me.
It's all pretty dull. Like that's the, if you're gonna, like, we watched Shane McMahon throw green goo on Braun. Why are they coming out with a bucket of water? As far as like mean pranks, that's pretty boring.
For the flowers.
Water for the flowers. Okay. Wow. I don't know. It'd be funnier if it was something slippier, like just like a big bucket of lube.
All women love to get wet.
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't know. Either way, like Nia did a terrible job pretending to fall down, but what else is new?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Asuka and Shayna are now caught up in this shit. And Lana and Naomi should be the tag champs.
Yeah. We'd be so fine if they just followed our direction with that narrative, right? We wrote a great storyline.
What was interesting was Rhea Ripley was put with the women's tag champs, who are the heels, supposedly. And now Rhea is also, I guess,
Rhea's a baddie. She's baddie.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I have yet to see any proof at all that Rhea Ripley is in fact the bad guy, except for when she tossed Asuka into the stairs in the "Can They Coexist?" tag match.
Yeah, I don't know. Lana almost beat her, so that's encouraging. Couple times. Couple near falls.
New Raw Women's Champion, Lana.
Bring it. Give it.
Give me that.
I want it.
We were talking about callbacks before. First of all, like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's your callback. The other one is the WWE Heavyweight Champion, Bobby Lashley. So he comes out. First time in, 2 weeks? Since the Raw after Mania? So I'm a fan. I do not need Bobby Lashley to show up every week and cut the same promo. I'm so much happier to see MVP come out, take care of business. And you know what was even better? When he mentions to the crowd, to everyone watching at home, whatever, it's a callback. Bobby lost the U.S. Championship on a triple threat match, in a match where he wasn't even pinned. Why would he want another triple threat match?
Yeah, exactly.
What does that serve?
And he's killing it. Like, he comes out, he cuts a promo, and we all know that he's not like the strong. He's got an uphill battle in terms of cutting promos, but he's doing a damn good job. And his face when Braun won that match was excellent. It was both a look of like defiant strength and a little bit of terror. Like, it was really, really well done. It sold the story just by having it cut to him, looking at him being like, things didn't go my way. Like,
yeah, I enjoyed that main event match until we got to the finish.
Yeah, which it makes no sense whatsoever unless, again, the new tag team, soon to be named Extinction, is under the employ of the Hurt Business. Because, like, that's clear. Okay, I get it. You've now made 2 Extinction references, and they're wearing, like, pseudo prehistoric makeup, I guess. I don't know. Like, what? Can't you just let them be good wrestlers and they can come and wrestle? Like, they don't need this terrible gimmick business.
Listen, we predicted this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Braun was going to join that Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, no doubt.
We knew it. It's happening. The only other thing I have to say about this whole gimmick was we're going to need a bigger boat.
Oh, man. Adnan's out there doing his best.
He's out there doing his best. That's right.
At least they grabbed it quick. They're like, I don't know any boats have been on rails.
Yeah, you got to get, that's the one thing Corey Graves is going to do, is kind of reel him back.
He had to do it a few times. Awkward. He did it well, but it took a couple times. Like, what? Okay, let's look at the positives here. They are doing good long-term storytelling with Braun. I know everyone seems to hate Braun Strowman. I don't. I like Braun Strowman. Screw you all.
Okay.
he is a whiner, right? Like, and Drew called him as much, right? Like, the get these handouts thing was great. And he has been bitching and moaning for the past, like, several months. That was the better part of the storyline that got him into the feud with Shane McMahon. And then he was whining about Shane McMahon the entire time. He's being bullied, right? Like, it makes sense. He whined his way into this match. I think it's a good angle. I hope they keep leaning into that in the build to WrestleMania Backlash.
I love the part where Braun Strowman goes into Adam Pearce's office and says, I want this main event match. And if I win, I want to be in the main event of WWE WrestleMania Backlash on the Peacock Network, or the award-winning WWE Network and international syndicates. And I don't want to be on the kickoff show for WWE WrestleMania Backlash. He had to give you the whole gimmick to get there. I loved it.
Because, newsflash, he's a dummy. Like, you know what he could have gone in and asked? He could have just gone in and been like, hey, I want in this main event. You just saw this match. Let's shake it up. Like, he didn't have to ask for a match before the match. He could have just been like, put me in the main event at WrestleMania Backlash on the Peacock Network. Like,
or internationally on the WWE Network.
Yeah. Talk about canned, baby.
In the chat, it was they're saying, most of the in-ring work was really good last night. And that's true. There were a lot of really good matches because the reality is they have a lot of really good professional wrestlers. They don't have a lot of good writers to write. They have the writers. They just don't have the person to pass through the filter to get to it before 8 p.m. Eastern when they go on the air, and everyone's not left trying to rack their brains as to what they're trying to say or do.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me. But the matches are fine. The wrestling is fine.
Yeah.
The tag match, the women's tag match that we just talked about was really good. Mm-hmm. The exception being when they had the schmoz, when they had Mandy and Dana come out and toss the buckets of water. What does it do? What's the point? Yeah,
like they do weird stuff like this, and I think it's because they try to tell 90% of their stories within the matches. And like, look, you need excuses to have matches. You need stuff to happen during the matches, but it's like, you can also just have moments. And this is something that they did really, really well before. Like, when they did the tomato bit this week, that was a good bit. Like, that's a funny moment. And it was like, and then they just had a match. They just had a regular ass match, and that makes perfect sense. Like, you don't need to build the thing by having the same match 4 times in the lead up to the actual match. Like, just have matches. Like, the matches can be fine. You can tell the story through other bits, backstage segments, like,
I will say this. As a guitar player, much like you are, I was laughing so hard when they had Xavier Woods carrying this giant, oversized acoustic guitar case and trying to balance it because it's very bottom heavy with all those tomatoes. And he's like rushing down to the ring to put it down so he can open it up and get to the... And by the way, ripe tomatoes, when you toss those, they hard as hell, man.
Yeah, it did not seem like... Those had to be like turning black from rotten to be actually mushy tomatoes. And they weren't going to do that because it's probably hard to find that. You'd have to make them in advance, which means they'd have to write the story more than a week in advance. So like, that's why Morrison gets hit in the balls a couple times.
Oh God, I felt so bad.
It was like twice. Like, I saw him like covering his groin after receiving one, and then another one heading right in there.
Someone was aiming. It was a rib on. So it had to be a rib on Morrison. I feel so bad.
He can take it.
You know what? Speaking of Morrison, I wish he could have been in that match. I don't understand why Racist Riker has to be the guy wrestling in the match. It's dumb. All I want to do is I want to get to Miz and Maurice versus Morrison and Monet.
No. That's a WrestleMania match.
We're
gonna drag we're gonna drag it right out. All 4 of them gotta be in a thing together, just being annoying as possible. Like 1,800 Miz TVs throughout the year, with all of them.
With a version of like Miz and Mrs., but they'll call it like Jomo and FOMO.
Yeah, something with like there, double it up. You get 2 shows, two for the price of 1.
I'd be so into that. Who am I kidding?
And then the competing ratings, that's what gets them into the feud. Oh, oof.
And Sheamus's U.S. Open Challenge. Let's get to that real quick, just because we can.
Yeah, he's feeling frisky because he keeps coming out with the belt, and he's like, look at my belt, like it's great.
You're even wearing the right shirt for it too.
Oh yeah, baby.
Sorry, audio folks. You're gonna have to watch the video for this.
Yeah, it's me, like a flasher. You know, he's got the big coat, and he comes out, and you can't see the belt, and then he shows you the belt, and it's great. It's good stuff.
And he's having his best run. He's having great matches. He's having good character. He's now coming out and beating people with his taped up fists instead of his taped up wrists. And it's I like it. You know what? Humberto Carrillo comes out. He's looking good, but here's the reality of it. This was talked about on a few different places where I listened about Raw. Considering what Andrade said when he left WWE about Latin stars not being pushed and Vince not seeing any value in them, it should come as no surprise that Andrade leaves, and now Humberto is getting into this scene, and Angel Garza is suddenly on screen regularly again.
Yeah, well, to what feel for Garza, but like
it's the same. It's basically just the Enzo and Nia storyline.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it takes, though. Like it. I'm glad to see Humberto, and he looks like he might actually be leading up to a pay-per-view match. So good for him.
Kickoff show. Let's face it.
Have they been doing kickoff shows? I haven't been watching.
Oh yeah, they just haven't done they haven't done a match on a kickoff show for WrestleMania because of the whole we want fans live. Blah blah blah. If they do it at the actual show, I get it. It makes sense because they have unlimited time. It's not like they have people in the stands. So we'll see. Regardless,
there aren't that many matches for WrestleMania Backlash yet. So
exactly. And because I don't really want to talk about Riddle more than I have to, I will say this. I'm sorry for manifesting this tag team back in 2018. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. Arcade Bro. It's too soon.
I did it. I'm really sorry. You can go back on my timeline, Natural Pearl. You'll see it. It's really upsetting. I'm sorry. Let's talk about AEW.
Yeah, sure.
All right. We had Penta El Zero with Alex Abrahantes taking on Trent. Whew. Good, solid match. Abrahantes, by the way, is really, really good in this role.
And like he even had some like good, funny follow-up tweets too. After it was like Penta has informed me that's a very expensive microphone, so there's no way that could have been a cheap shot.
That's very good. I like it. You know, he has the right amount of distraction in him too. Right? Just the way that they got to the end of that match, it made good sense. I liked it. It worked. Trent didn't look dumb. He just looked like a baby face who took a distraction loss.
Yeah.
Well, as a result, tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite, we've got Penta taking on Orange Cassidy.
I'm excited for that. That sounds very interesting to me. Like, talk about a couple of divergent styles. I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
By the way, Abrahantes actually is rapping on Penta's updated theme music.
Oh,
that's kind of neat. Cool. I enjoyed finding that out. Yeah. So it's going to be a good match tomorrow night for Cassidy and Penta. We'll see. Like you said, clash of styles, and it's going to be just hopefully a fun match to watch. Just brutal at some points. Speaking of brutal, not in the good way, Chris Jericho cuts a promo with the Inner Circle. Nope, not for me.
I kind of tuned in and out with the Jericho one.
Because earlier in the night was JR's interview with the Pinnacle, and that was the good one.
So good. Very good. Yes. Like Wardlow got his piece in. That was delightful.
I didn't expect him to get it off that well.
No, it was good. Like, it was really good. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's a shame that I kind of tuned out for the Jericho one because there was some important information in there, I think. And I might need to ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
What is Blood and Guts?
Blood and Guts is this is why we're doing more content with you now. This is why we're going to do more.
Sometimes I glaze over, you know.
Blood and Guts is essentially the War Games match in WCW, or like the War Games match now in NXT, but it's going to be more like the WCW one, which is a little bit different. Ring. There's still 2 rings.
Ooh.
There's still a cage around the ring, but there's also a roof, whereas NXT does not do the roof.
Good, love a roof.
The way that people enter the cage is done differently, I think, for AEW. They'll explain that hopefully this week or next week. But Yeah, it's going to be kind of similar to War Games, but not entirely the same. If you
Is
go
this
back and watch old WCW, you'll see.
okay? Is this the first cage match in AEW? I don't think I've seen a
No,
cage.
Cody Rhodes was in a cage match,
Okay.
but when crowds were still in play.
Yes. So ages ago.
Yeah. Him and someone in the chat's going to tell me, but I think it was Hager, but it was either way. Cody was in a cage match. But
Dope.
tomorrow we've got the parlay because Blood and Guts is next Wednesday, which is insane to think about. And it's going to be a one-match show, according to JR and Tony Schiavone last week on Dynamite. So my question becomes, how do you fill 2 hours with one match?
You got MJF. I'm not concerned.
I have a feeling they'll do a lot of backstage or pre-shot segments. They'll do a lot of how we got here. The match itself will definitely go long. They'll probably, they'll have a lot going on, and I think they'll do a big ending promo type of thing. Oh,
they have a ton of talent. Yeah. So
yeah, it was Wardlow that faced Cody in the cage match.
Oh,
it was Wardlow's first match in AEW.
What do you know?
Yeah. So there's some history there. Well, Wardlow has history in a cage, despite all his rage.
No, that's the other promotion.
Right. No, because there's cages all over AEW now.
All over is a bit of a stretch.
Brian Cage, Christian Cage.
Oh my God! Yeah, forgot about the inspired naming of
Ethan Page.
wrestlers. Yeah, they're good at naming. Wrestlers are sometimes.
Hey, that's their gimmick. Let's move on to the AEW Women's Championship match. Shida and Kanji had a really, really, really good match. Kanji's come so far from NXT.
Very good.
And everyone says it. I mean, it helps now. She's learning from her peers instead of learning from just teachers of the old school. And not everyone's going to be a success in NXT and in the developmental system of WWE. And Kanji is just one of those people who has come out ahead when she was released. She got more out of her release than most people do.
100%. So it really, she stood out. Like, it was a great match. The ending was no surprise to me. Like, she's not there yet. Like, she wasn't never going to win this, but it was a great match. Like,
yeah. Kanji lost because she's inexperienced. Like, that's the story. And that was a good story to tell because it's simple, it's easy, but they still had enough going on for them that Shida led the match. It was paced out well. And in the end, it was just because Kanji couldn't keep up.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, man, Caleb in the chat. Yeah, I remember that match now, actually, the Cody Cage match.
Yeah, the moonsault off the top of the cage.
Yeah, it's beauty.
Tomorrow night, we've got the women's division action is going to be Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. And of course, if Penelope Ford's around, then Kip Sabian's around. And if Kip Sabian's around, then Miro's probably not too far behind. Are you ready for Miro and Kip to finally throw down?
Yeah, I'm ready for Miro to stop being the best man and just be something interesting.
He's the best. He's the best man.
Best man.
He's the best. He's the best man. He's the best.
I actually don't mind them that much.
That'll be fine. I need more out of Miro. That's all.
Yeah.
Statlander and Penelope Ford makes sense. It's a good match to have. Statlander knocked a giant piece of plexiglass into Penelope Ford's face upon her return. So I'm gonna enjoy that.
Yeah.
TNT title match. Speaking of title matches, Darby Allin and Jungle Boy this past week. Whew,
it was
what a good way to go.
Main event. Yeah.
I just realized that I didn't actually update anything that I wrote down. I had last week's notes because I had
I thought that seemed familiar. And I was like, don't really remember any of that, but maybe I'll watch again. I didn't.
No, it just honestly just an enjoyable match. Darby Allin again doing the thing where he says, I want to have more matches. I want to do more, and I'm going to win, and I want to be a winning champion. Good enough for me.
No, and like he's good in the ring, and it means I don't have to watch so many like promo videos of him because I don't care about the videos. Like, he's good in the ring. That's probably why he got where he's gotten. Like, it's not because he's an edgy film student. Like.
Do you ever watch wrestler cameos when they're like shared among the masses?
No, never. Like, almost never. Only when you tell me here's a weird one.
I should have sent this one to you because Darby Allin actually did one recently where he's in an Uber and he's giving a shout out. And the Uber driver's like, hey man, shut up. And the Uber driver is just very aggressive to the point where he like knocks the phone out of Darby's hand, and Darby's like, "Can I just finish this cameo?" And the driver's like, "No." And he's like, "Where are you taking me? Just take me home." And the driver's like, "I'll take you wherever I want." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. It's a kidnapping in the form of a cameo. I hope nobody calls the cops." But it's a wrestling fan. It's probably someone's called the cops.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a choice. Edgy.
People who are listening are just like, why are they talking about the match? That's because tomorrow night we've got Darby Allin taking on Preston Vance of the Dark Order number 10. I'm looking forward to another one of these matches. It's going to be a little heavy. It's going to be a little fun. And you know what? This is good because the story here is very simple. Allin said himself, last time I faced a member of Dark Order, I won, but I separated the guy's shoulder, so he was at a disadvantage. I want to prove again that I can do it without anybody's help and without any schmaz, without any problems. Good.
I don't know. Win's a win. Uriah Hall took his win on Saturday. So, like, I don't know. He's not at a disadvantage. It just means you done good. You broke him.
You broke him. Chris Weidman knows a bit about that too.
Oh man. Who is Sting gonna get in a fight with this week though? With the Dark Order? They're all so nice.
He's just gonna sit there with his bat and you kids stay off my lawn.
stay out. Like, yeah, watching him in a dinosaur fight was something. But anyway.
Also tomorrow night on Dynamite, we've got the Young Bucks taking on Matt and Mike Seidel. Eliminator match. Very much a fan. Very much a fan of that.
What is that? Like
an eliminator match is when two people are in tag contention, and if they don't win the match, then they are to the back of the line. They cannot challenge.
Okay. Yeah.
Time for Matt Seidel to go after the TNT title. Bye, Mike.
Aw.
I like Mike Seidel, but
yeah, it's fine.
Matt said it a long time ago. He said, I want to compete for the TNT title. So this will probably be it for Matt and Mike as a tag team, at least for now, as Matt maybe sets his sight on the TNT title. Ready? Next one?
Maybe.
Brian Cage and Hangman Page.
Is that what's happening?
Cage and Page. That one's happening.
Why did I think it was Cage and Cage?
It's Cage and Page.
Oh, man.
It's not Page and Page. It's Cage and Page.
I thought it was Cage and Cage this week.
No, because Cage has another... I don't think...
Who's Cage fighting? Cage is fighting someone, isn't he?
Brian Cage is fighting Hangman Page.
No. Christian Cage.
Christian Cage, I don't think has a match this week.
I could have sworn Christian Cage had a match. Maybe I'm going crazy.
You can go ahead and take a look.
Too many Cages and Pages. Like, their faces are starting to blur into one horrific, like, mess.
Just, why couldn't we have Brian Cage and Ethan Page taking on Christian Cage and Hangman Page?
Oh, they got him with Scorpio Sky, which unfortunately doesn't suit our gimmick here.
Well, we can still get there.
Which is, it's great to see that Scorpio Sky gets out of a tag team because he wants to be a legitimate singles competitor because he got that Sonic ring. But
which they also made reference to recently. Someone said he literally grabbed the brass ring.
The brass ring! And it's like, okay, but now he's saddled up in a tag team because we don't know what to do with y'all.
Yeah, they got to find their way with those two. Ethan Page is going to take some time because, yeah, he's coming from Impact where he had a good name to him. But he's got to make a new fan base.
Yep, 100%. Whatever, they'll build him on Dark. He'll get a 13-win streak before you know it, and it'll surprise me on Dynamite.
It's actually very true. Now, Hangman Page continues to take on Team Taz. But going back to Christian Cage, he's also taking on members of Team Taz.
And he works very hard. So he better have a fucking match this week. Like, he outworks everyone.
So I think we're going towards Hangman Page and Christian Cage against Team Taz, either Double or Nothing or in like the late month of May going into Double or Nothing. Because eventually I think we're going to have to get to Hangman Page and Christian Cage, hilarious, for a #1 contendership spot. Maybe even it All Out, which is still, that's like September. That's a whole summer away. So you got to stretch that story out.
That makes sense. And we talked about how like Hangman has to do this very, very long arc. And like, we'd love it. Like, it's a great idea. It's going to be a good story because when he does ultimately face Kenny, it's going to be like, ooh, fire. But it does have to drag out for the better part of this year. And it sounds like that is where they're going. And they actually have a pretty good way to get there. So he's going to be busy. He's going to be visible in high-profile spots, and it's going to be awesome. Love Hangman.
And there's still, again, yeah, you can You can tell the story further of Christian and Team Taz, at least for now. Again, we're talking about Double or Nothing. But then Hangman Page with Dark Order, you can get there. There could be another maybe Nightmare Factory for Hangman to have to go through.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because speaking of the Nightmare Factory, or just the Factory
It's
now,
the
they're
factory,
going to be taking on.
yeah.
You're right. It's the Factory. For this match, it's going to be QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Nick Comoroto, who, by the way, did you know he has an accounting degree?
He looks like an accountant. He looks like a buff
Really?
accountant. Yeah.
The
I
big
get that
guy with
vibe,
the big hair. And that's the accountant?
I see him. I've met accountants who look like that. Lots
Buddy,
of people are accountants.
questions.
It's a good paying job. It's got that middleman designation that you have. You know, you got the CPA and stuff. So it's like, anyway, Canadian. But maybe
Good
Canadian.
Lord. They're going to be taking on the Nightmare Family. That's Dustin Rhodes, Billy Gunn, and Lee Johnson. Why not one of Billy Gunn's damn kids? I don't know. Because
That's a good point. Why? Like, what? Billy Gunn got his ass beat last week. Like, let Austin step in. Yes, as he should.
Well, instead we'll get Lee Johnson, who I assume will eat the pin. I don't know. I'm enjoying Cody-less AEW. That's really what it comes down to.
It's been okay. Yeah.
The ratings have also shown that they are enjoying Cody-less AEW.
Oh, don't tell him that. That's mean. Hurt his feelings.
Good on
He's
him.
very fond of himself.
Yes, that's the problem. Do you think he'll come back tomorrow night? I had to think about what day it was.
He's been out, what, 2 weeks?
Think about 2 weeks. He's been back.
That's as long as he can stay away. He'll be back tomorrow. Cody Rhodes, everyone.
Oh, no. Let's move on. Do you want to get to SmackDown?
I mean, do we have a choice? Yeah.
Should we
SmackDown
tell
was
the
good.
people what we want to do moving forward? Should we tell them what we've been talking about doing, or let them wait?
Ooh, no, let him wait.
We'll let them
now
wait.
we're building intrigue by not talking about what we're talking about.
My God. Let's talk about the dance pack. Let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship. Because first of all, we called it Kevin Owens going right from WrestleMania into the Intercontinental Championship.
What else is he gonna do?
once Apollo Crews became the Intercontinental Champion, I was like, oh, we're doing it. We're doing that thing we talked about. But Sami Zayn steals the show again. The man is a dance machine.
He is making money on merch this year. He is a merch machine.
He's a merch machine, but the one with all the dance moves, is going for his Sammy for Syria charity.
Oh, God, he's a great man. I love Sami Zayn.
Yeah, he's been doing that for a little while. And if you want that shirt, it's over on ProWrestlingTees.com. It's not going through WWE Shop, which I was
How can he
very
do
interested.
that? Probably because
think
charity.
I think because it's 100% charity and WWE is not involved with Sammy for Syria, that they're allowing it to happen. And someone else made the design for that T-shirt, which is so cool.
It's a very good design.
I'm not one for white T-shirts, but like that is it's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
What do we expect? What are we going to get? We've got literally Sammy, KO, Apollo, and Big E. Big E was kind of like off to the side this past week. KO was like palling around with him. It was
back and forth. I like that. Big E's always like top tier, and put him with KO, winning combo. But yeah.
I didn't love the distraction finish for that Intercontinental Championship match for KO and Apollo Crews.
Yeah,
dumb Nigerian nailed is whatever.
I hate that move. It's like whatever.
You miss Umaga? I miss Umaga as well.
Yeah, I miss Umaga doing it because it was cool. I don't like Commander Aziz. I find his entire presence annoying.
So I assume we'll do a 4-way at either WrestleMania Backlash or very soon with Big E, Apollo, KO, and Sammy. Why not? And it'll be good. It'll be a real good match.
Yeah, it sounds like a great match. So
we just have to be careful because we've got a triple threat now for the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Too many multi-person matches.
Do whatever you want, man. It's your company, Vince. You
The
don't need to follow the formula.
You know who definitely didn't follow the formula? Was me when I told you to like the video and tap subscribe, hit that bell, get your notifications for us. Huh? How's that?
We sneak up on you.
Gotcha. Let's get into
safe.
Roman Reigns. Roman watch. First of all,
So good.
that putting Brian out on the T-shirt was the best
Oh,
troll move I've ever seen.
he's such a douche. He feels like just in his element. And I hated Roman Reigns until this year. Now I love him. I love him so much.
You see that? That's you. That's you down there.
You're the one on the bottom.
Perfect. You're the one on the bottom. And so now we've got Brian's maybe final SmackDown match on Friday as he challenges for the Universal title against Roman.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Are we gonna
He's
have
going
Brian
to Raw.
lose?
Brian needs to go to Raw for some reason. I don't know why, but he's going.
Why does he have to go to Raw? Why can't he go to he's gonna go to NXT UK. He's gonna go take on Sam Gradwell and
No,
and
he's
the
going to
rest.
Raw. You know he's going to Raw. They very specifically mentioned I don't want to see you here on SmackDown. Like,
Entertain me for a second. Let's say he loses, he goes to NXT. Who does he have his first match with?
Finn Balor.
Damn it. Why not Bronson Reed?
I don't see that happening.
Bronson Reed, who, by the way, has like a ginormous cat, like a chonker of a cat.
Didn't know I could love him more.
Oh, good stuff.
That's cool.
Opening tag match, going back to Roman and Bryan and all that stuff. Fun. Again, we're going back to the conversation of like having work rates and having great performers who don't always have the best character development or storylines to go on, but they made this one work. I'd like to see more of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
45 minutes to open the show with that was perfect. It all worked out because Jey Uso is great. He's even developing a character based on the fact that he takes all the L's.
Yeah, he's so frustrated and just like broken and like constantly shouting. Like he's angry all the time in a way that like sometimes when he talks, it's like not super coherent, and it works really, really well. Like when he was like, "Oh, I'm about to puke" or whatever. Like
he's gonna puke.
He's like, "Why are you talking? I don't care. Why are you? I'm about to puke. Why are you talking about that?" Like. And he's just like, disrespect the family. Like, he's just frothing mad all the time. And it's really good. Like, he's just emotionally destroyed. And I think it's like, it's really interesting. And it'll pay off down the line. But we're still ways away. And he's got some stuff to work with for now. So,
watching that swinging promo was fun. Watching Brian kind of just talk over it as Cesaro just kept going around and around.
Oh, it was so good. I can't believe they could do it that long. Like, the two of them, like Jay and Cesaro, I can't believe they didn't retch. Like,
yeah, and let's just get to it. The Aleister Black promo, that ain't it for me.
Hey, somebody watched Harry Potter, though.
Indie bookstore troll clerk. Thank you, Edge. That's what you gave us.
Yeah, woof.
Let's get to NXT real quick. I know you want to get there, but we got to run to the exits. Anything on Aleister Black real quick?
No, nothing on Aleister Black. Bailey and Bianca is going to be good. I thought that was a quick way to get into a feud that was pretty well done.
Last week on NXT, Dexter Lumis just wanted to get laid. Instead, LA Knight won the match. Indy showed up. They never kissed. Dexter Lumis just keeps getting cock blocked. So instead, we get Bronson Reed and Austin Theory because Austin Theory went and got himself a match because someone wants to challenge for that North American title, and that's Bronson Reed. But he's got to go through Austin. Okay, I can see Gargano getting involved, maybe costing the match and having to do something next week. Beat them both to get the title match.
Yeah, so... Yeah, maybe that. Maybe. But like either way, Bronson Reed's getting to the North American title match pretty quick.
Oh yeah, he'll get that rematch because they had a really good showing at Stand and/or Deliver.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
Deliver
good, so
was night 2.
That's going to continue.
Speaking of continuing, we got Mercedes Martinez taking on Dakota Kai. Mercedes Martinez wants to get to Raquel's NXT Women's Championship. So does Dakota Kai slowly turning? What do you think? She's going to get beaten down by everyone en route to like she's going to be the gatekeeper to Raquel, but she keep losing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be better. Like, I don't want it to happen too quick, and I'm nervous that that's what's going to happen. Like, I think we can take some time to get there. Like, give Raquel a few opponents, have Dakota be that gatekeeper, but just constantly letting people through the gate, and then eventually just be like, I'm fed up with this. Like, I'm tired of always being this person who gets their ass whooped before you take care of business. Let me get a shot. So,
for the sake of her being a player coach, I like Mercedes Martinez getting the first crack at Raquel because the match will be good.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that it shows Martinez's her plateau, her glass ceiling, if you will.
I mean, I think that's just realistic and where she's at, right? Like, I don't see things taking off for her. Like,
yeah, I don't necessarily see it either, but I don't know. I'm not the type of person who thinks that the titles are going to make the person in NXT, at least in this case, the Women's Championship. It needs to be just something needs to be given to Martinez to make her more badass when she fails. She's got to move up while failing.
I can see her like getting a solid spot, being the enforcer in a faction, like being the muscle, the heavy. Like I think that'd be a good place for her.
Oh my God, make her the heavy for Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, that would be
Oh,
excellent.
so into it. All right. Saray made her debut last week against Zoe Stark in a very, very good match. Not shocked to see Toni Storm return and take out Zoe Stark. Speaking of Mercedes Martinez, I assume we'll see Saray and Stark against Storm Martinez unless they find a way to. Storm and Martinez already teamed up before. That's why.
But like, it was good to see Toni back, like in the picture again. Like I was not surprised she showed up because there was like no one else. I'm glad they didn't do it mid-match.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the NXT Women's Tag Titles, we'll talk about that later because there's a non-title match that was announced. But that's like the biggest thing coming out of that Dusty Cup was we got the Women's Tag Titles 2 weeks later, and Storm and Martinez were part of that whole schmaz. Whatever. I expected more. Adam Cole makes his return to NXT tonight, but it's going to be in a sit-down interview with Arash Markazi, who was on the NXT TakeOver pre-show. For those who remember, he was the guy who wasn't in the CWC, but he was like in another room on a Zoom call, basically. Anyway, he's a sports journalist, Tim.
Okay.
He talks
if you say
sports.
So.
He talks about sports and journalism.
He talks about journalism? I don't know what Adam Cole is going to announce. He said he doesn't seem finished with Kyle. I don't know, which is weird to me because they should probably have finished that.
Well, I mean, listen, speaking of cool Kyle, what a match with him and Cameron Grimes.
Jason
Sorry,
Mraz.
I didn't do the gimmick. Cameron Grimes.
He looked like Jason Mraz. He was such a dweeb.
But that's so good.
It was perfect.
I will accept the weirdness.
I think I said lean into him being a dork or something. Like, because he is a dork. Like, he sounded like a dork in the bill. He's like, one of us changed as a person. Blah, blah, blah. But, like, lean into it. Now he's a dork. Call him Cool Kyle. I don't give a crap.
Cool Kyle and Karrion Kross is going to be a weird alliteration match to get to. But also, Kyle can't keep losing these title matches. So again, Adam Cole sticking around means he'll get involved with Cool Kyle and Cool Karrion.
Yeah, and you could run maybe a triple threat with them. Like, just have them
damn
bickering.
Triple threat with us.
Yeah, I don't know. Have them bicker amongst each other, and then just Karrion destroys them. Like, he makes them pay for their stupid feud, and he retains, because that's what's going to happen one way or the other. So, that Cameron Grimes match was great. Circle back to that. Forgot to comment. Tremendous. Give Cameron Grimes the shot next. Cameron Grimes versus Karrion Kross.
Even that stupid backstage segment with the NFT where he's like, how about an NFT? And I put all this money down, and then pulls out the thing and it's like, we had a last minute bidder, but that's not how it works. We had to accept the money from Ted DiBiase. Goddamn you, Ted DiBiase!
Ted DiBiase!
I love it. That's
awesome.
what I want. Speaking of awesome, Kushida, the cruiserweight champion. I couldn't remember what he was for a moment. Takes on
rude disrespect.
Legado del Fantasma as he teams with MSK. So Kushida and MSK are going to take on Legado del Fantasma. I thought Santos Escobar would be done with the cruiserweight division and move up to the North American title scene, but I think they're kind of waiting for that scene to open up for him.
I think they want to continue because Reed and Gargano already had like a good thing going. They want to drag it out a little bit longer. So they'll squeeze him in there eventually.
What are your thoughts on MSK getting booed at the CWC?
I don't know. It's not my fault those people were drunk.
Okay. All right.
No, MSK are great. I don't understand. Why. What does anyone have against them?
I feel like they're just too hyped for them.
They're hype. They are great.
Apparently they're too hyped. They're too great.
I don't know. A bunch of bitter, weird Floridians. Not my problem.
What could be Kushida's next feud? What do you think? Because we had last week Oni Lorcan accepting the open challenge. Unexpected, but it sets the tone for Kushida and like this championship reign that they're building. They got to build to a big challenger. So I guess Oni makes sense. They can just kind of squash him and that's it. Yeah. What do you think Kushida's next feud could, should, would be? And don't say Santos because we got to do that.
No. We got to. I don't think that. I think that they can do more with Legado. Like Santos can drift in and out because he has a faction, right? They can do stuff with Legado. They can fight Breezango. Please fight Breezango again for a little while. Like, you know what? I'm trying to think of who's even on the roster. Like they still have. He can squash people like Tyler Rust. Who's that other cowboy guy?
Kurt Stallion, who's
Kurt
currently
Stallion, you can fight him. Like, he's got opponents that they can put on. He'll be on 205 Live squashing people left and right too, and then they'll just call to it on NXT.
Speaking of 205, we've been talking about last week. We talked about Mansoor maybe taking the open challenge. I think Mansoor is actually going to be the person to win the cruiserweight title from Kushida when WWE goes to Saudi next. If they do it in 2021, that's how they're going to do it. Because right now Mansoor is on this winning streak where like it's insane and nobody talks about it because he's the Saudi performer. That's the whole gimmick.
So they'll take him over actually to Saudi, or is he like born in Saudi Arabia, immigrated to the United States, American
That's
citizen?
The one. Yeah, LA. Yeah. Born in KSA, came over young age, blah blah blah. Okay.
Cool.
We're hitting the wall, so here we go. Also tonight we got Killian Dane and Drake Maverick teaming up to take on Imperium. That's Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. I expect Dane will join Imperium at one point, please. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe not this week. Probably next week.
Shotzi and Ember defend. No, they don't. It's a non-title match. Shotzi and Ember take on Jessie Kamea and Aaliyah, because of course they do. The way gets involved, I assume, because now there's a title match, another women's tag title match. I don't know why there's only 2 teams going for those titles at all times. Need to fix that real quick. Who you got? Shotzi and Ember or Jessie and Aaliyah?
Jessie and Aaliyah by disqualification.
I think they'll win by distraction.
Oh, okay. I guess
Let's make it to the exit. Tim, tell them where the kids can find you.
Kids can find me at Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP on Twitter.
You can find the show at Tim and Joel Pod. We're timandjoelpod.com, youtube.com/timandjoelpod. Please come on. Next time, give us a like on the video. And this time, give us a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button. Tap that bell. Get your notifications, would ya? You can find me at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. Twitch.tv/Joel Pearl. I usually play video games after NXT and at random times. But until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy NXT, enjoy your wrestling, enjoy your week, and we'll see you in 7 for another Tim and Joel pod. Cheers.